Hello. So for this section, your heading is making and breaking bonds. Make sure you underline it and pause the video so that you can do it and then start when you're ready to go. Well done. Make sure you've got a date as well. For this section, you are going to need a calculator. Now, for those of you who get very anxious when I talk about a calculator in science, don't. The kind of calculation we're going to be doing involves addition, subtraction, multiplication, all things that I know you can do. So tell yourself, yes, I can do this, and we're going to be methodical and we're going to work together to do well on this. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now in this section, we're going to be talking about making and breaking bonds. Now, I always keep a visual aid in my head when I think about this. Over here, I've raided the sweets from the children, and they're very cross that I'm using this for the lesson, but I thought you deserved it. So over here, I've got a hydrogen molecule made out of sweeties. So the yellow sweets are the hydrogen atoms, and it's joined by a toothpick, which is representing my single covalent bond. Now, before a reaction can even occur, what we've got to do is we've got to separate these two hydrogen atoms. And in order to do that, I've got to put in energy in order to break it apart. And that's the bit that I want you to remember. So over here, breaking bonds involves putting in energy to break that apart, and we therefore describe that as being endothermic, taking in energy. And then the opposite is true when we make a new bond. When we make a new bond, energy is released, just like when you have finished a task, that relief of having completed that task. Making new bonds gives out energy. It is exothermic. Pause the video and copy down neatly the bits in yellow. Okay, so let's look at an example of this. If I look at this reaction, so if I have a look at this reaction, for example, a reaction between hydrogen reacting with chlorine, producing hydrogen chloride. You've seen this graph before, and the only difference is before I've drawn it with a curve at the top, but it can equally be drawn like this. So we start off on the left-hand side with our reactants, our hydrogen and chlorine molecules. And we notice that before anything else even happens, these hydrogen and chlorine molecules are broken apart. Now I'm going to show you another way that I can illustrate that to make it easy for you to remember. Okay, so here I've got the same reaction. I've got my hydrogen molecule that is going to react with my chlorine molecule. And if I had to make that out of the sweeties, there's my hydrogen and there is my chlorine. Now, in order for this to even start reacting, the first thing that's got to happen is that these covalent bonds need to be broken. There's a single covalent bond in each, and these have got to be broken apart. And when they get broken apart, what I'm going to be left with is the individual atoms that are now free to collide with each other and form new products. So I'm going to end up with, there we go, hydrogen and chlorine forming hydrogen chloride. And in fact, in this example, if I balance it, I'm going to end up with two molecules. Now, this energy to break the bonds is shown at this part of the graph. This is, because I'm putting energy in, this is the endothermic part. And equally, over here, the energy I need to form new bonds, that's the energy to form new bonds. That is the exothermic part, because energy is released in that process. So what we've got to work out is, in a reaction, is the endothermic part greater than the exothermic part, or vice versa, because that will determine the overall energy of the reaction. And I should just finish that off with my products written down here, 2HCl. Remember, it's a lowercase l because it's the second letter in the compound. Okay, so I've said to you that what we want to work out is, overall, is there more energy to break bonds or more energy needed to make new bonds? And we can get these clues in two places. In the first place, we can look at the diagram. So over here, you can see that if we use the graph, and I'm going to just put some numbers on the graph just to make it easier, and you can do this in an exam, the reactant's energy is obviously higher than the energy of the product's energy. And if you remember, X, Y, Z, in an exothermic reaction, we get that Z-shape graph. So we can tell just from looking at this graph that because the energy of the reactants is higher than the energy of the products, it's got to be an exothermic reaction. And if you like to see that in terms of maths, the equation we used was the energy of the products subtracted from the energy of the reactants. So if I just put in makeup numbers over there, it's going to be 2 minus 5, giving me that negative 3 joules. And because it's negative, remember I said in exothermic, a cross reminds me it's negative. I've got it wrong. Exothermic is always has a negative delta H, change in energy. So this again helps me to see, I've got two clues, that this particular reaction overall is an exothermic reaction because we have more energy needed when new bonds are made. More energy is given out than energy put in to break bonds in this particular reaction. Okay, so our conclusion is that overall, because we've got a negative delta H, the reaction overall is exothermic, and that's the bit that the examiners are going to be looking for. So there's a word I'm going to be using called the bond energy, and you need to know this definition. Scientists have worked out that the average energy to make or break the bonds, and that energy is known as the bond energy. And if it takes me 5 kilojoules to break a hydrogen bond, it will take me 5 kilojoules of energy to make the bond. But the bond energy for hydrogen might be different for chlorine. So here is some data that you would be given in the exam. And if we have a look at those numbers, which one is the strongest bond in the table? Absolutely, the hydrogen is 436 kilojoules per mole. That's how much energy needs to be put in either to break the bond or to make the hydrogen bond. And look at the chlorine molecule, that has the least bond energy. What I want you to notice here is the unit. We say the unit is kilojoule per mole. All that means is that the change in energy is measured in kilojoules per mole. It's the energy needed to break a set number, a mole of the bonds. I'd like you to stop the video and copy out the definition in yellow and also the units which are underlined. Okay, now we are going to write down 2 examples in our study guide or in our revision books, to our exercise books even, to act as a study guide when we revise this work. So let's have a look at how we could actually calculate whether this is an exo or endothermic reaction by using the bond energies. Now I suggest you listen through and then pause the video and then write it down. So let's listen carefully. So the information you're given is the balanced equation, and it's very important that it's a balanced equation for the reaction between hydrogen and chlorine, forming the product hydrogen chloride. And you're also given a table with the specific bond energies. Right, so what do you have to do from here? So the first thing is you've got to think about the energy to break the bonds. Okay? Now remember, you have got one, from the balanced equation, one hydrogen bond and one chlorine bond. Okay, there's one atom of each. Now, I always write down this first step because being logical means there's less chance that I'm going to make a mistake. So don't take shortcuts. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. Okay, so what we have happen here, when we substitute these numbers in, 436 for the bond energy between a hydrogen-hydrogen atom, and 242 rather than 43, sorry for that mistake over there, I get an answer of 678 kilojoules per mole. I do apologize, it's 242 rather than 243. Note I've also put down the unit, kilojoules per mole, which if I forget, it's on the table. Now this is where you've got to remember that when I break the bond, I've got to put in energy to break that bond. So straight away with your answer, you've got to show that you're adding in energy, so you put a positive sign. If you don't put the positive sign, the examiner doesn't know whether you've actually clocked that that is indeed positive. Okay, so we now go and have a look at the energy involved in the HCl. And this time, from our information on the table, the bond energy between HCl is 431, but because of the balanced equation, I know I've got two of those present, so I've got to go 2 times 431, giving an answer of 862. And again, because making bonds releases energy, I've got to make sure I add in my negative sign in front of 862. Now, to work out the overall energy, I've got to use this formula. The energy to break bonds plus the energy to make bonds. And note the use of the brackets over here. This helps me to make sure I don't make a mess up because of the positive and negative signs. And when I do this calculation, I get an overall energy of minus, because the negative one is bigger, 184 kilojoules per mole. And because it's negative, that tells me that the overall energy of the reaction is exothermic. Right, so take a moment just to go through this on your own. Write this example in full in your books, and then in the next video I'm going to dial up the challenge because I know you can do it, and we're going to look at another example.